Yeah, I mean, I think we will just continue to grow offensively, as we continue to find an identity to who we are and what we want to become. But, I think we played 5 games and really played, 4 different offenses in a lot of ways just because we're continuing to try to give our football team the best opportunity to be successful. So, I think obviously with Brock and his first extended action, there's a lot he can clean up and continue to work on, and we'll have to continue to do that if we want to continue to get better. And he knows that he's a competitor and a guy that wants to only continue to get better as well. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of just who he is. Again, he's a young pup. I mean, he's played 1 true college football game, so. He'll continue to grow, and there'll be good days and there'll be days where he'll continue to have to grind through it like any football player. But I think who he is and what he's about has allowed him to have success at a young age, at least in a football game. And so I think the biggest thing for him is just continue to stay level-headed and continue to grow. But he's really done that since the day he's been here. And I think like our football team, Brock's a great example of that. He's only gotten better every day. And so if he can continue that, and he's shown to be able to do that at a really young age, then he'll only continue to get better. Yeah, I know I said this, a little bit last night about our recruiting process at Brock. Really one of the most enjoyable recruiting processes that we've had and I've had. And, I think similar to knowing Kyle Kempt at a very young age, the quality of person that you're getting in terms of maturity, what was expected of you in your high school football program, knowing your background, having real meaningful conversations at 17, 18 years old, that's hard to find today. And, I think you could at least tell that there was a great sense of maturity. And then you got around the people that were, I think, huge impacts in his life. His high school football coach, obviously his parents, you watched him around his brother and his mother, and you said, man, this guy's got a lot of those it factors, and he's got it together. And then you see what he's done academically in the classroom. You see what kind of student he was. You go around the school and hear people talk about him. I think those are all collective data that whether it's a quarterback or any player you recruit, I think it can at least start to paint the picture of what kind of character student athlete are you getting into your football program. And I think those were the things that we knew were hit on all cylinders when he decided to come here, and as we went through that process recruiting Brock here. So I think huge positive for us. Yeah, I think the winning first down in a conference like this is really big, and I think both on offense and defense, because you want to try to put yourself at the advantage when it comes down to that critical situation when it's 3rd or 4th down. And getting to those points really on both sides we've been able to do a good job of. Finishing those points is the difference in teams like, not only last week, but a team like West Virginia. A team like West Virginia with a quarterback like that, whether it's 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 10, it doesn't matter. He's really good, and he's got the ability to make you pay. And so I think those are really our focuses as much as anything. We've been getting to where we want to be on some of those 3rd down situations, but finishing the course is big on both sides of the ball right now, and it's an area we must continue to get better at. That's a great question. I think a lot of people are trying to figure that out right now. He's really talented. I think what's so impressive about his video is, the number one thing that shows up is that offensive line that's playing in front of him right now, has really grown up. There was a young group a year ago that you could see on film as we were getting to play them a year ago continue to get better. And then as you see the early part of this season, they're doing a great job running the football, and what running the football certainly has allowed is an elite quarterback to have the ability to kind of pick and choose his points where he wants to throw and when he wants to throw the ball. But he's a guy that can throw in all aspects of the field. He can throw the deep ball as good as anybody. Maybe right now in college football is what he does over the middle, and certainly in intermediate ranges is really consistent, and they're playing to that advantage. So I think to say you're going to sit there and stop him is a naive comment, but I think the ability to continue to try to be multiple in what you do a great job of trying to win situational football, those become the big factors for a quarterback like this. First of all, I think it's a great comment. I think it's in a great observation. Kene is a guy that we said at the beginning of the year, got to find ways to get him involved. And I think Saturday, watching that evolve, it just reminded all of us why, he's a guy that in his carries in the football game maximized every possession that he had. And you're right, no matter who's in the game at running back, he's got to be a guy that's got to continue to be a factor for us. And I'm really proud of Kene. Every time he's touched the ball, whether it's been in kickoff return or certainly on the offensive side, he's been a factor this year. And I think part of it too, a little bit from our end, is kind of gradually getting him back as well. We didn't want to force the load on him and want to make sure that he's healthy for the stretch run of things. But I thought he played an outstanding football game. I thought he was a huge impact on the offensive side of the football. And he is powerful, he's strong, and not only is he a fast football player, but you saw in some of those runs guys that are, the first guy wasn't tackling very much. I think that strength as well as speed is certainly an asset to him, and can continue to be a great asset to what we do offensively, and must be. Joel has done an incredible job, and I not only with that quarterback room, but a lot of what we've done offensively. I think he has. That's not an easy course to do. What's going on right now? You've had to 5 games. You played 3 quarterbacks, and trying to get 3 guys ready to play. I think we would all say, if you look at it statistically, they've been extremely efficient. None of those guys, even back to the TCU game, there wasn't a lack of efficiency in the game. Now maybe some execution, but efficiency. And I think the reality of it is credit goes to the coach, and Coach Gordon's done a great job preparing those guys, continue to make sure we develop a game plan that allows those guys to be as successful as they can be, and kind of intertwining that with giving a game plan that allows our football team to be as successful as we can be. So I think he's done a great job. I think, Joel's one of the rising stars in our profession in a lot of ways. And, I think his ability to handle this from an adversity standpoint in his first year, as the full-time coach shows you, what a great job he's doing right now in our program. Yeah, Kyle's situation, I would say, a little bit after yesterday, last evening is still, I would say if we're in the NFL, it'd be doubtful. He's gonna try to go and practice here this week, so I think we'll have a better understanding exactly where Kyle really is. The biggest thing is that he's healthy, and that's a position where there's so much that's asked of you that are a little new. It's not just handing the ball off, having to escape a rush, having to do some things. I think his health is number one concern for my end of it, that he's ready to go and be able to play in that kind of situation. David, for him, he's probably a little bit more day-to-day. We'll know a little bit more today. He looks healthy. He looks ready to go. But again, he's looked that way, for the last week or so. It's not the look, it's the feel, and so I think just where he's at in terms of, that pain and some of those things that he's dealing with right now. So I think we'll have a better idea, certainly as we get through heavier practices Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah, I think anytime you talk West Virginia defense, and I've got a lot of respect for what they do on the defensive side of the football, and they're physical, they run to the football, and they play really hard. And I think since I've watched West Virginia football for a long time, that's been the foundation there for as long as I can remember. And since I've been in the league now and have been able to really watch them up close, it's been their foundation. They play really physical, they run to the ball, they understand their scheme, and they're not gonna give up the big play, and when they need to be aggressive and come after you, they're gonna have the ability to do it. So a lot of respect for them, and certainly a great challenge for us going into this game.